This episode is sponsored by Duer. I'm David Plotz, CEO of CityCast. I'm lounging in my performance denim slim straight jeans from Duer. They're incredibly comfortable. They're 5 times stretchier than traditional denim. But what's even better is that they feel stretchy without looking stretchy, so you can take them anywhere and look good. I've been wearing them to travel, out for dinner, now just hanging around my house since they are so delightful to stretch out in. Duer are pioneers of blending technical innovation with everyday clothing. They invented the original performance denim, so it's not surprising that Duer has made jeans that are the best of both worlds. Classic jeanswear style with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. Also, they're the right color. Not too excessively deep blue and also not that middle school jean light blue, but a lovely indigo. My girlfriend, in fact, called them the perfect color. And she's got taste. Simply put, Duer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice style. Get a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Go now to shopduer.com/CCAustin. You'll get 15% off your first order. That's shopduer.com/CCAustin for 15% off. shopduer.com/CCAustin.
Do y'all ever feel like you just have too much stuff? The closet is overflowing, the garage is overflowing, or like me, that chair of donations is really overflowing? That's where Adios comes in. They're a local Austin service that makes it ridiculously easy to say goodbye to your old stuff and feel good doing it. Go to sayadios.com and order a bag, fill it up, text them, and they will pick it up from your doorstep. So get on over there, use code CityCast for 50% off. That's sayadios.com. One bag, one text, one less thing on your mind. Free speech on UT's campus is at risk, and the latest attack is coming from the White House. President Trump's Compact for Academic Excellence in Higher Education is a funding offer with strings attached, and UT has to accept or reject it by next week. So today on CityCast Austin, I'm chatting with a pair of seniors about why they have revived a left-leaning student magazine from the 60s. It's Tuesday, November 11th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I am here with Ava Hosseini and Kira Small. Ava and Kira are both UT seniors, roommates, and co-editors-in-chief of The Rag, which is a student-run publication. What's up, Kira? What's up, Ava? Thank you for being here.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us, Nikki.
So we'll get into it. So the University of Texas was one of 9 universities offered a compact from the Trump administration in early October. And now it is one of just 2 schools that hasn't publicly rejected it. And so for people that haven't been following this as closely, tell us what you know about the Trump Compact and how is it being talked about on campus right now?
It's one of those things where for me, I had sort of a multifaceted reaction, right? Because on the one hand, I'm somebody who I moved to the United States when I was in the 1st grade. I moved to Texas when I was in the 2nd grade. And so my whole life, UT was like the big, hook 'em, the big school, not just in regards to Texas, but also it was sort of this idea of this like big American liberal education where, this is what starts here changes the world, as they like to say. And so, when you first hear about the compact, I think that it's important to distinguish the fact that we were the only university that laid ourselves at the feet of the Trump administration.
Hours into it. We were like, we would be so
honored. We are just so excited.
Enthusiastic. Please.
Pick us.
And every other school, it was so embarrassing to be almost the only school, the only school who had that reaction to begin with, and then now to be the school that is staying silent. It sort of is like, we we know what's happening here. But yeah, no, it was humiliating. It was, yeah, I think that UT has become a national embarrassment. I remember reading the New York Times article regarding the compact, and like in the last paragraph, just right at the very end, it was like the only school that seemed excited about this compact has been the University of Texas, and whatever, like the only enthusiastic response. We know the compact for what it is, which is a really sorry attempt at trying to curtail student speech by waiving money that we don't need in front of our faces. This university is the second highest endowed university with $47 billion in endowments, second only to Harvard. And so to me, it's like there's no reason why we would need this money. This is just something that the Trump administration is trying to wrangle in our faces in order to stifle student speech.
Yeah. So, okay, if I'm somebody that has no idea what the compact is, what is it?
So Trump's compact is a letter to 9 schools, as we established. It covers a variety of areas, asks that schools abolish departments that belittle or punish conservative ideas.
That's verbatim.
Yes. Yeah. It prevents trans women from using the restrooms or from being involved in sports. It gives international students, basically sells them out to DHS. So not only does it cap the amount of international students, but it forces the university to turn disciplinary records over to the federal government, which is just like an unprecedented amount of oversight. And it allows the federal administration to have some level of control over the punishment of student protest speech and admissions.
What really sucks about the compact is that there are actually a couple of ideas in there that we think would be beneficial to students. Like, it's something like if you have more than $2 million for every STEM student, then the STEM students, like the students going into the hard sciences, get free tuition. And also we believe in promoting academic rigor in all of these classes and things like that.
So addressing grade inflation is like a really great thing that the compact does.
Addressing grade inflation. And so what they're doing is they're sort of weaving anti-immigration rhetoric, anti-trans rhetoric, anti-free speech rhetoric amid sort of these declarations of like the liberty of American universities and these sorts of things. So yeah,
it's a shit sandwich.
It's a shit sandwich, exactly.
It's a shit sandwich, and frankly, it's embarrassing because they're tying up like really good academic policy into these like horrible ideological overreaches, unprecedented by the executive branch. I think if and possibly when UT Austin signs it, they will try to justify it by talking about things like freezing tuition. These are perhaps like a shining little tomatoes in the shit sandwich that they're going to point to and be like, oh, but it's great. As I said at some of these protests, I would still be protesting against the compact, even if I agreed with every one of its requirements, because the executive branch has no right to meddle in higher education to this level.
And that's the point.
And by the way, the things that we agree with in the compact are things that the university is capable of doing on its own. Once again, the University of Texas at Austin has the second highest endowments after Harvard. We don't need Trump's money. And if what you would want it to do was freeze tuition, if what you would want it to do was address grade inflation, these are things that you can do within the university without getting the federal government involved. But this has nothing to do with academic integrity and everything to do with falling in line with the Trump administration.
Yeah, clearly. So the university has until November 21st to respond to the deal. And I'm curious, you said one of the first things that you said that, I think I'm hearing a lot of is that you're embarrassed, right? And as this deadline approaches, are you finding that mood is similar among students and faculty? Just like this cringy kind of like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening?
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
This is the thing is that the person in charge of signing it was Kevin Eltife, the chair of the Board of Regents, who was just so eager to bend over for the Trump administration. Just horrible. But it's Jim Davis who actually has to make the choice of whether or not to sign.
And for those listening, Jim Davis is the president of UT.
Yeah. And so do you know that at the beginning of this year, Jim Davis actually got a bunch of professors into the room and he signaled to them that UT has kind of a rainy day fund and that we would not be dependent on federal funding if it came down to something like the compact. And then weeks later, he seems to be going back on his. Yeah, exactly. yeah. Weeks later, we're all here talking about it.
I think that they're going to sign it. And I think that the reason that they're waiting is so that the heat will die down and they can quietly make some, some sort of postured negotiations.
Yeah.
And then sign it. And then it's like, oh, but this is just it's money for the school.
Imagine this, your next podcast recorded in the same studio where you're hearing this right now. That's Trick Hat Workway. Trick Hat is Austin's most hospitality-driven co-working space. And yes, they've got a pro-level podcast studio designed for creators, teams, and businesses who want high-quality recordings without the stress of hunting down space or gear. Just show up, plug in, and hit record. Outside the studio, Trick Hat's got you covered. From private offices to dedicated desks, they offer flexible co-working options to fit any business or entrepreneur's needs. And can we talk about the perks? Freshly brewed coffee from Manana, endless snacks, and crispy Diet Cokes. But what really makes Trick Hat different is the energy. From weekly networking opportunities to community trick chats, it's more than a place to work. It's where Austin comes to connect, create, and have fun doing it. Whether you're producing your next big idea or just need a space that feels good to work in, Trick Hat Workway is waiting for you, where it's always old Austin, new tricks. Visit trickhatworkway.com to learn more today.
You know, when most of us want to learn a new language, it's not because we're dying to memorize grammar tables or ace a quiz. It's because we actually want to speak it out in the real world with real people. And that's what Babbel is great at, getting you there fast. Hey, it's Michael Zibiak, Chief Revenue Officer here at CityCast. My daughter's a senior in high school, and after graduation, we're taking a father-daughter trip to Spain. And right now, my Spanish is, let's just say, very high school level. Shout out to Senior Patty from Syosset High School. You tried. When we're in Spain, I'd love to do more than just ask where the bathroom is. I want to be able to chat with locals, order tapas, and actually connect, not just read the menu and point. So I'm starting with Babbel. It's all about small steps, big wins, and it's super easy to fit into my life. Honestly, with how busy things get here at CityCast, I love that Babbel's bite-sized, 10-minute lessons fit right into my day, between meetings or over my morning coffee. I'm excited to pick up some real-world Spanish before we go, so we can experience Spain like locals, not tourists. Doesn't that sound better? Right now, Babbel's got a special deal for our listeners. Get up to 55% off your subscription at babbel.com/citycast. That's BABBEL.com/citycast for up to 55% off. Rules and restrictions may apply. Gracias and adios.
So I'm curious, kind of along the lines, like, have there been more like protests, forums, or other like visible signs of engagement or pushback that y'all are seeing?
Yes, and also here's the issue. There has been engagement. There was a pretty big protest. I would say one of the biggest since the Spring 24 protests. But the thing is, after the Campus Protection Act that came after the protests of Spring 24, I think that it has hindered a lot of the protest culture that was once happening at the University of Texas at Austin. UT is a school with this rich background in political activism, and then suddenly you have, there are members of the RAG who, if you're a sophomore or younger, you weren't there during the protests. You don't know what the campus looked like. And so I think because they have this opportunity to kind of wipe their slate with the Campus Protection Act and also with new students coming in, there's a real chilling effect that is had on student speech because of how they reacted to the protests. So to your point, yes, there have been a lot of protests and there has been a lot of upset. However, the administration has put the university students in a position where they feel like if they say anything, their education is at risk.
Which I would add, it makes it all the more significant and impressive when every single protest that we've had about it in the last few weeks has garnered more and more attendance from students. This is an issue that students feel is so integral to our education that we're willing to put in some kind of risk to speak out against it. Because there were that first protest that we had against the compact, there was a Fed there with like flying a drone above the protest. Yeah, totally. There were university administrators on our tails. I tried to bring an American flag in, and they told me to take it off the flag. Like it was a very surveilled environment. There were journalists from right-wing groups who have been coming in and surveilling the protests, watching students, reporting on them, following them around. There's a lot of like vigilante stuff happening on campus that frankly, like the culture of silencing speech from the Trump administration has encouraged. So, it makes me all the more hopeful that the more protests that we've had, the more students have attended.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really interesting. I went to UT as well, years and years, decades ago.
Oh, welcome.
And hell yeah. And I say this, I've said this so many times. When I went to UT, there was always somebody in front of the tower protesting something. There was always a sign. There was always somebody like a sit-in and the six-pack. There were, you know what I mean? Like there was always.
That's right.
Yeah, like one year, like someone was with like PETA and they were throwing animal fat all over the place. Like there was always something. Yeah. That is what you do when you're in college.
This is the beauty of a liberal arts education. Yes.
To that point, I want to remind you that the Roe v. Wade case was essentially bred at the University of Texas at Austin. Like UT's activism specifically has bred some of the most important social activism in the country, Yes. So what does that say for us? This is considered like a public ivy and all of these sorts of things. So what does that say for us when we are stifling student speech? When there aren't PETA students throwing animal fat in the lawn?
And that's what I was gonna say. It's like to watch how UT has changed has been so disappointing because I mean it used to your point. They encouraged it. It was encouraged to speak out and like buck against the system. It was a whole big thing. It's one of the reasons why I ended up going to UT is because I have a loud mouth and I want to be heard. And so here we are now, and we are talking about straight up with your whole chest, just like repressing speech, like aggressivity. And so like you guys have been there for 4 years and you were talking about this a little bit, like seeing how it's changed over your 4-year term. Has it gradually gotten worse or did it just like come out of nowhere and take a nosedive?
Spring 2024 was a huge inflection point. That was the moment when I think people realized that they could chill speech and get away with it. It took a long time to rebuild any kind of protest movement after that. It's really only been in the past year that, first of all, the new students who weren't there and weren't hearing the sirens blare miles away from the protest saying, disperse or you will be arrested, disperse or we will jail you, disperse or we will expel you, stuff like that. So people who weren't around for that stuff and, people who like we were there for that stuff who are willing to kind of like get back on our feet or find other people who are willing to speak out in spite of the threats to speech. The chilling itself has been pretty significant. And also we've seen as like this kind of rise of almost a vigilante culture of students recording one another, posting it online, students recording one another and then threatening to send it different places. This is why it's so important. We had a conversation with Tom Alter, the professor who was fired from Texas State a couple weeks ago. And one of the things that he told us about is how he used to have a tech-free policy in his classrooms to make sure that students can, say what they want, say what they think, say what they might believe, what they're toying with. It's shocking that this is now the unique idea, the fringe opinion, that the classroom should be a place for like open inquiry and discussion.
Yes. And, Kira and I are not people who would skirt around an important discussion. Like we went and we toured UATX to see it for ourselves. And in many ways, the piece that Kira had written for the RAG was a defense of the University of Austin at Texas. So we're not necessarily subscribed to any one political conviction. And I want to point out that it seemed to me like Tom Alter kept his convictions out of the classroom. And so, it's strange to me that we're discouraging their own convictions unless their convictions come from a certain political party. It seems to me that it's not the business of the federal government or of the, Board of Regents at Texas State.
So let's talk about this. You just brought it up. Across town, the University of Austin just received a huge donation, and now they've pledged never to take government funding, emphasizing independence and free inquiry. And you both, like you said, you toured the school. I'm curious what your thoughts are on their approach compared to what's happening at UT.
Oh my gosh, Nikki. I went to go tour the school on the day that the Trump compact had been sent to UT. And I told the university administrator, I was like, this is the crazy stuff that's going on over there. So like, I'm so delighted to see a campus that is separating itself from federal funding. Are there risks with taking the money of like private, extremely ideologically committed donors? Yeah. For what it's worth, I was able to speak to some of the professors there, and they said that they've at the University of Austin, and they said that they've never felt any pressure because of this private donorship to teach their classes any specific way. Boom. That's what we want. That is what we want. Obviously, it would be excellent if we could have a federally funded school with those kinds of resources. But that's what the Trump administration is doing, is that they're pulling federal funding out of education and then basically allowing it back on ideological conditions. So for now, it's frankly embarrassing that a school run completely out of the pockets of right-wing donors is doing so much better than we are on ideological neutrality. It's like just humiliating. Just humiliating. Jeff Yass, he didn't pay his federal income taxes. Like, what are you doing giving $100 million to a school?
Or he's fudging it so he don't have to pay a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy that this guy is the champion of education. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that it's him.
This is what University of Texas at Austin, again, a school that has nominally just bolstered itself for years on the banner of free speech. We're coming in like last place against a university that is funded by a bunch of Trump donors.
I mean, it feels like we're living in a simulation. It's honestly ridiculous.
Well, I actually have to disagree. I don't think that it seems like we're living in a simulation. It seems like these are exactly what was threatened to happen when Trump got elected. I mean, this is almost verbatim what he had said he was going to do. It feels like It certainly feels like you're in the Matrix if you're in our position where you're like actually at the university and you're watching it change.
Listen, it feels, as somebody that's been here as long as I have, I'm like, what in the hell is happening? This cannot be real life. I cannot believe we've let it get here. This has to be a simulation. What is going on? Austin prides itself on being an open-minded, innovative, liberal-leaning city. I'm curious how this is going to affect our identity and this culture that we have of free expression, not just how other people see us, right? Not just the way that other people see us, but the way we see ourselves, the way fellow Austinites see ourselves. How do you think that this debate and this push and pull is going to affect the identity, our own, and how people view it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the big issue is that, Austin's culture has been changing since we became a tech hub. I think that that's really where it all started. It's not that Austin, Texas is this sleepy little college town anymore. That's sort of this hidden gem amid, in Texas where all the hippies are. Now suddenly it seems sort of far-fetched to say, but I really feel like the culture has been gentrified by these folks who are coming in. And I don't know, it seems like we are playing house with the concept of Austin. I definitely agree with you that this will risk and has been risking the culture of Austin. But to be honest, I mean, I think that this city is unrecognizable even just from when I had started out as a student here, freshman year in like 2022.
Y'all, I finally got my bubble cuddle blanket from Cozy Earth, and I am obsessed. Now, the first thing I have to tell you is how soft it is. The distinctively textured bubble design and ultra soft faux fur is heaven, and it doesn't shed. It's perfect for snuggling up with my boo for movie night or just to add a touch of luxury to my living room. And the holidays are coming up, and I'm a person that likes to give gifts that instantly become someone's favorite, a gift that they just can't stop using, and this blanket is that gift, especially for someone that loves a little cozy moment. Plus, you're in luck. Black Friday has come early at Cozy Earth, and right now you can stack my code, Cozy Austin, on top of their statewide sale, giving you up to 40% off in savings. These deals won't last, so start your holiday shopping today. And if you get a post-purchase survey, be sure to mention that you heard about Cozy Earth right here. I want to talk about the rag. So you both recently decided to revive the rag,
Yes, we
which
did.
is the 1960s underground paper that chronicled activism and counterculture in Austin. And so I want to talk about, because this is major. This is major for me. So why bring it back now? And what role do y'all see it playing in this moment?
You know, Kira was talking about how the university speech has been stifled for students. And, you know, that's one of the big reasons that we wanted to start the RAG. How it actually happened was that I was running for student body vice president. You know, a friend of mine and I, in our sort of naive student sensibilities and our young college student sensibilities, we were like, there needs to be change around here. And so we ran, and you know, we didn't win, but what that did teach me was that there were a lot of students with a lot of concerns that felt like they couldn't voice them. They felt like the student body wasn't really being represented, and that people were scared to say anything. And, you know, I was in a similar position. I'm a first-generation immigrant, and my family begged me not to speak a protest every time I spoke at a protest. And so, you know, eventually I backed down, and then and Kira spoke in my place. And then you know, we had sort of had these discussions about, you know, what is it that we can do to sort of rally the student body together and whatever, so that they at least feel free to express their opinions. And then we had facilitated a coalition building event where we had watched the RAG documentary. And afterwards, Kira and I were talking, and we were like, holy shit. This is exactly what it needs to be. What we are missing on the left on university campuses, in my opinion, is political satire. You know, if you are a young person, the last thing that you want to do is sort of engage with something that isn't fun, frankly. You know?
Yeah. And there's a reputation that the left has kind of built for itself as being a bit naggy. And then when you're a young college student, that doesn't sound like any fun at all. So you can either be edgy and fun and conservative, or you can be a liberal nag. And so that's, I feel like, what the RAG offers, in addition to like a print medium instead of just having to look at your phone all damn day.
Like, Kira and I are not on social media. Kira doesn't even have an iPhone. And, you know, my iPhone barely works. And it just was one of those things where we had realized that there are so many students that probably are feeling so isolated because of their phones, but that don't have any community to rally behind or anything like that. And so we had the idea to, you know, all of the RAG meetings and everything, we don't do any Zoom, we don't do any, it's all in person. We meet like twice a month, and we've met some really, really awesome, really enthusiastic people, like funny, brilliant, talented folks who were just tired of sitting around and being on their phones, and readers who were tired of waiting in lines on their cell phones and wanted something to engage with, but just didn't have the place. You know, so if that's you, we have a place for you.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up really quickly how I don't have to tell you how much of a big deal this is, but I'm just gonna repeat what you said. The heaviness of as a first generation immigrant, not being able to protest in the way that you'd like, and having someone in your corner that's like, I got you, bitch, I'll go and I'll do it for you, is the energy that we need. period, full stop. That's the energy we need across the board. And so it feels good that the two of you have that energy.
I'm an Iranian immigrant, and so it's not only that you're an immigrant, it's like you're an immigrant from kind of the worst place.
Exactly.
That you know what I mean? Like kind of one of the places that it's like, oh, you guys definitely shouldn't be saying anything right now. And it was really encouraging of as well as other things to have somebody like Kira be like, no, the person who is responsible for saying something about this is me. And Kira was the first one to put her full name down on the rag. I didn't put my full name down on the rag on the first one because I was scared. And Kira put hers down. Our other managing editor, Grant Lindbergh, put his down. And in some respects, it's kind of a sad thing to think that, I'm an American citizen as much as Kira and Grant. But this project would not have been possible without Kira and Grant.
What's really, and forgive me for this, but like, it feels like, I think as I've gotten older, when I think about college students, you all seem so young to me, right? But when I was in college, I did not seem young to myself. I did not feel like I was young. I was a grown-ass woman, right? You know what I mean? Like, and I have to remind myself on a regular basis, they are grown. They are like, they are grown, right? So it's like, and I think it comes from this place of like protectiveness or something, because it feels like you're living with and dealing with stuff that you should not have to fucking live with and deal with, but you're doing it, right? And you're navigating, and this is how things are now. We have, like you said earlier, Austin is no longer this sleepy little place. This is life. It is what it is now, right? And so as you personally navigate your role, your voice, your agency, like, I'm curious what kind of lessons, one, you've both learned, and what lessons might others take away from what you've learned and what you're doing.
You say that this is no longer how things are, that things are we're fighting stuff that we shouldn't have to fight. And I think that this has kind of always been how it was. In the 70s and the 60s, it was the Vietnam War and it was civil rights. There's always been a kind of, it has been very comforting to step into the name and the legacy of the rag, because it reminds you that, it's not just oppression that's cyclical, it's also, activism and the fight against it. And
my uncle used to say there's always some bullshit.
Yes.
There absolutely always is.
There's always some bullshit. This is actually nothing really new, meaning that you don't have to kind of create the standard on your own. You don't have to create a whole new torch. You just step into a role that's been there for decades and centuries, kind of all of time.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think you had mentioned that there are things that we are going through that we shouldn't be, and I think that one of the things that actually has concerned me a lot is not even necessarily the compact and all, like your uncle said, there's always some bullshit. However, the thing that is unprecedented for me is social media. It puts you in a position where you kind of cannot engage with the community around you because you have no concept of the scope of that community to begin with. Like you're sort of scrolling through your Instagram feed, your Twitter feed, whatever, and you are looking at pictures of, babies in Gaza, and you're looking at, the SNAP benefit stuff, and then you're looking at homelessness in Austin, and all of these things seem equally as inaccessible to you as far as like what you can do to help. And if there's anything I have learned from running the rag and everything, it's that the thing that you actually can deal with is your own community. That is the place that you can enact change, and that is where we need to be encouraging young people to place their efforts. Get off social media and talk to your neighbors.
Yeah, I wrote an article for the first edition of The Rag about how this weird, just like, I think, obtuse claim that social media is somehow the new public square. It's been very popular to say that. And if you think that social media is where speech happens, you got to turn that shit off. You got to turn that shit off. You have to step outside. You have to touch some grass, and you have to go talk to your neighbors. Yeah, exactly.
Touch grass.
Or talk to anyone who wants to talk to you.
So I always like to ask people, especially, people that are like in the community and doing the work. As a regular ass everyday Austinite, whether I'm a student or not, in your opinion, what should we be paying attention to along this conversation with UT and this conversation about the compact? What should everyday Austinites be making sure that they keep their eye on?
It's immigration rhetoric, especially in a place like Texas, especially in a place like Austin, where you have sort of this intersection of we both have a substantial Latino community, and also we've got folks coming in from the Middle East and from East and South Asia. And, this country and this city are populated by immigrants, be it first generation or otherwise. And it has become really easy to put a target on their backs. If there's anything that I would implore Austinites to sort of think about is, check in on your first generation, second generation friends. Be aware of the way that your understanding of the immigrants in this city have been propagated by people who you don't even know. The people who you do know is your Latino neighbor. The people who you do know is, your Iranian server at whatever restaurant you go to. It's your it's your doctor. It's your neighbor. It's members of your community.
I think the craziest line in the Trump Compact is talking about the cap on international students and how the justification for it is keeping noxious values from saturating our campus. That language, noxious, saturation, is vivid. It's graphic. It's meant to conjure a picture and not a policy-related one at all. It's not objective language. It's meant to make you afraid. So to have it in an official document that your university is probably going to sign is terrifying.
And that's on that. Kira, Ava, thank you for being here. Thank you for having this conversation with me. I can listen to y'all talk all day.
Thank you for having us, Nikki.
I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate you starting to rag back up, and I cannot wait to see what y'all do and get into. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. And by the way, if I could just say, the RAG does have a Substack as well as our, we regularly put copies in coffee shops and things like this. But if you look up UT Austin, the RAG Substack, it'll come up. So if any of your listeners are interested in looking at the archive of our old posts and of our old issues, that's the place to do it. But yeah, thank you so much for having us, Nikki.
That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. You can find links to the RAG in our show notes. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate our show, leave us a review, subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. And of course, if you really, really love us and you love these types of conversations and you love hearing what's going on in the city, become our neighbor. Go to membership.citycast.fm today and find out all of the fantastic stuff that we have to offer when you become our neighbor. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.
Guess what? CityCast has some news. I'm Sean McPherson, the host of CityCast Twin Cities.
And I'm Jane Sihu, and I'm the host of CityCast Seattle. Hey, if you have a friend in one of our cities, can you text them for us?
Yeah, something, simple like, hey, how's that rash doing? And do you listen to podcasts? Because I have one you're definitely going to like. After that, tell them that CityCast has helped you become more informed, more involved, and more connected to your amazing city.
We're going to help that person you know in Seattle who's been trying to make friends.
And we're also going to do that for that guy you only kind of knew in college who moved back to the Twin Cities after graduation.
Don't we all have that guy?
Yeah, and usually that guy is named Todd.
So did you text them yet?
Jane, let's just wait a minute. We don't want to rush anybody. We'll do a little small talk. How's everything going in Seattle?
Beautiful, beautiful. Fall leaves popping. How about Twin Cities?
Today, beautiful and sunshiny in St. Paul. Okay, Jane, I bet they are done texting by now, and I just want to remind them, hey, you, please tell that friend to subscribe to CityCast Twin Cities or Seattle, wherever you get your podcasts.
Or if you don't want to text them and you're really just on Instagram sending them DMs all the time with like funny videos, send them a DM of our latest videos. You can find us at CityCast Twin Cities or CityCast Seattle on Instagram. Thanks.